Alright, Tower of Babel. Oh boy. This level's not too bad. It's kind of short. And we also get the laser gun in this level. If you notice in the last video, I didn't pick it up. Because I skipped part of the level. So, you know, legit skips. I didn't just say, I'm not doing this and no clip through it. But, yeah. I don't know, I was bitching about Star Wars being conglomerated. But it's true. I think it's just absolutely insane that a company can just own everything. It's fucking uncomfortable, actually. It's like, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Disney also buy, like, National Geographic? So now Disney technically owns, like, culture as a whole? Like, that is fucking unsettling to me. Like, I don't know how else to describe how... Like, let me just point this out. Disney is children's entertainment. First of all, why in the hell do they have any business owning anything other than children's entertainment? I've actually said this at work once, and I think it's a good point. Disney would monopolize if they actually bought, like, anime. I think that's a good idea for them, because getting younger kids into anime, even though I hate anime, is cool, because it gives you a place to start as a kid, right? Rather than just jumping in and being like, oh, let's watch Pico no Boku, right? Like, obviously don't, but, you know, my point is, Disney would be better if they stuck to just children's entertainment. Because I don't care what they do, because A, I'm a 27-year-old man, and I don't care. Like, I'm not gonna go out and watch the Cruella movie because I need to find deeper meaning in life. Like, if you like it, more power to you, but it's children's entertainment, dude. Like, you can try to say it's as adult as possible, but it's still children's entertainment. Like, I'd even say, you know, if you like it, cool, but if it's the only thing you watch, that's really creepy. Like, that genuinely freaks me out. But my point being, Disney owning everything is just terrifying. It's like when Microsoft purchased Minecraft, I didn't understand why. I like it when a solo developed team owns something, because it's theirs, you know what I mean? You can also point to the finger of who fucks up, too. Like, you know, you can't just point at Randy Pitchford and be like, you, right? When it came to something like Minecraft, you could say, oh, it's Notch or Jeb. I don't even know what the hell Notch does anymore. He's sad. He sleeps on his mountain of money or whatever. But I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just weird. It's like if Disney bought Minecraft, right? Or Disney bought Fortnite or something, I guess. You see what I'm trying to get at? Like, it's just weird. Like, they buy things they have no business conglomerating into. Like, it's uncomfortable. It's like if Disney bought, like, Playboy or something. You see what I mean? It's just weird. Like, why? And that's the problem, is that they're a kid-friendly company, and they will make everything as cutesy, and don't be like, oh, it's still got adult themes. It's like, no, Star Wars was better when people could just get fucking murdered. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying everything has to be blood and guts, for the record, but Jesus Christ, like, Disney owning everything is scary, because that also makes it so other places, they own those copyrights. Who's gonna challenge them, right? Like, what the hell is gonna challenge the mouse, right? Like, they own The Simpsons, they own Family Guy, they own, technically, because they own, like, Fox, right? They technically own, like, just all this shit. It is uncomfortable. Like, to me, that some company can own, like, an entire chunk of culture. Like, that is just gross. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. It's just the word gross. Like, why? Like, I get it. Some companies go bunk, you know, they start to fall apart. I get it. Like, and sometimes these instances do help, like a smaller business trying to get more legal work or whatever, but fucking Disney, why, of all companies, that has made some of the shittiest films in history and has had numerous issues. I don't mean like company, I mean like profit margins. They stagnated. There's like that whole Xerox Disney era thing, you know what I mean? And like, it's also just not even the same integrity. To me, Disney just means like the 3,000 different things they own. And that to me is just fucking creepy. Like, to me when I hear Disney, I think, oh yeah, they made the Little Mermaid. Or they made a version of the Little Mermaid or something like that, you know what I mean? Like, to me, oh Jesus, this is just a bad start. This is 100% my fault. I'm trying to rectify the situation though. I don't think a cannon was the greatest solution for this problem. Not by a long shot. So like, you see what I mean though, right? Like, why the hell does a children's entertainment company that has had, and is already starting to stagnate, what happens when all that... I just wait for them to go bankrupt. I really do. I just want to see on the news their fucking like stock prices are like $5. Actually, I want them to be like Blizzard, Activision prices at this point. Like, it's inevitable. Everything crashes. They're going to release mediocre product after mediocre product. But the problem is, Disney's children's entertainment, that's the thing. They can't advance further than children's entertainment. So all those things they absorb, when those people grow up, they're gonna be like, wow, this was shit. My childhood was sad, boo-hoo. But you know what I mean, that's just my idea on it at the same time. Like, I just don't understand why you'd want to support that kind of culture. It supports binge culture, which I think is incredibly toxic and creepy. So that's just me as well. Like, I don't like binge culture at all. And the fact that that's actually a term is just even more sad to me. Like, they just promote... It's like if they just bought Netflix or something, right? Like, then they just technically own this entire... It's like if they bought YouTube and then this. But then the best thing is, once those investors lose interest or they inevitably tank, which they already are, you start to get the very lucky, like, fresh stuff, right? New things come out of things like that, which is awesome. Like, you don't want the same thing all the time, forever. Where is this? Oh, there he is. It's like, you just don't want your favorite things raked over the coals, and then people go, oh yeah, I like Cat in the Hat. That Disney film, yeah. It's not Disney, it's... I don't know, I don't care. But then, you see what I mean. The fact that it's also just children's entertainment is just weird in its own right to me. Like, I don't know why people just... I get it, you want to be a kid again, whatever, cool, but so did Michael Jackson, and look what happened there. I also don't think Michael Jackson did what he did, but it doesn't matter. It's like, you see what I mean? It's just a complex to me that's uncomfortable. And I don't understand. It's like if Disney bought like a pharmaceutical company. Like, would that not strike someone as kind of fucking weird? Like, okay. This room is also not very fun. You have to keep shooting this light.
What are you waiting for? A one-liner?
No, that's Serious Sam 4. That's like people that are like, oh, we need a sequel, we need a sequel, we need a reboot. No, you don't. You want something new. Stop trying to pretend that that culture is acceptable. Because it's literal mediocrity and it's shitty. I don't know why people even, like, encourage that kind of behavior. It's like if it's like, oh, we need a remake of this. It's like, it already exists. Just deal with it and move on. Just because you didn't like it, just deal with that. If something doesn't age well, that's just a product of its time. I don't even care that, like, I'm technically playing an HD remake. Whatever. It's the same game with a better graphics engine and it performs better. That's not even the same. You want to re-release. You don't want to reboot. That's all I can say. You want a better version with quality of lifeness. As much as I don't care for D2R, I'm glad that it exists. It gets people interested in Diablo 2. But the people that are playing it already know what they're getting into. They don't care about the graphics. They don't care about, you know, oh look, they made the Amazon look this way. They don't give a shit. They want to get high runes and kill bosses, you fucking idiot. That's the entire point of the game. Things that rely entirely on graphics, or like, whatever, they don't supplant the original. They only encourage people to look back towards the original fondly. It's just the way things work. It's always going to be that way. There's always going to be re-release content. There's always going to be, like... I like Scarface, it's a great movie, but it's actually a remake, so I can't say that my favorite things are not remakes either. I will say, you know, interpretations are different as well, but there's also the problem of, yeah, they can be corporate hackneyed garbage like the Ghostbusters remake. Like, yeah, that was a fucking travesty. And every time I hear people say, oh, ad-libbing works, I'm like, yeah, you're thinking of that one movie and it did not work. Don't try to kid yourself. It was a mediocre hodgepodge of shit. It was a terrible, terrible film. And ugh. That's the problem, is it's bulletproof, because it's got women's in it. It's like, no, the film stands on its own as garbage. Like, that's all there is to it. You can't just say, I'm X or Y, therefore your opinion's bad. Looking at things objectively, like I said, is just so important. Like, that's, to me, what is sorely lacking is self-awareness, that things can be just bad. Like, there's lots of things that are just bad. Like, I think Serious Sam 4, despite having fantastic shooting controls, it's a pretty bad game. It's not anything worth writing home about. It's not even stable. Like, it barely runs. It's not bad, but it's a pretty bad game. Like, I laughed at a couple of jokes. Some of them were actually funny, but the forced humor was cringy and shitty, and it came off like Borderlands 2 to me. It's just this awful, trying way too hard to be funny kind of thing. The thing about one-liners in Serious Sam 1 and 2 and stuff, they were intentionally aware they weren't that funny, and they just only showed up every now and then. Like, stuff like that. Like, oh, what else? Like, the characters were just unlikable and awful. Sam was the only good one, because Sam is... well, he's Sam. So, everything else was just irrelevant. All the character designs were totally different than what they'd look like in the next game, so... It's also a lazy thing, because it's just a fucking another prequel. They didn't just release another part of the story. I want more. I want off this damn Earth, and I want to see what happens at the end. I want the damn series to just end. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want... It's like Half-Life 3. It's like the people that are like, oh, Half-Life 3 confirmed, and they've probably never touched Half-Life. They just know that the development cycle's long. It's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, it's probably gonna end where the aliens die. Gordon probably dies. There's only like 2 or 3 options that can really exist. So it's not like... Hype just fucks everything up. It really does. Like, that's why I never go into something with good expectations. I'd rather have my expectations shattered and go, wow, that was actually really good, rather than go in and be like, this is the best fucking thing ever, and then when someone says anything different, you're fucking wrong! It's just, I don't understand how people can live like that. It's just fucking creepy. It's also why I'd never say I'm actually a nerd, because, I don't know, I just don't feel like I am one. Just because I have glasses, asthma, and can build computers, that does not really classify me as a nerd, in my opinion. I don't know. I know a lot more about music than I know about video games as well. So, to me, my interests are actually also based in writing. So, writing is also why I'm so critical of film. Because, for me, film doesn't have an excuse to be bad. Because if it's poorly written, it's poorly written. And it will show very, very, very obviously. For someone like me, who can see why something's bad, and be like, yeah, that's terrible. Like, that's just objectively bad. I like how there's a fart noise. A greasy fart noise as well. The hell? Alright, that's cool. I'm just not gonna do that secret then this time. Fuck you, apparently. Oh my god. Also, that's what I was talking about that one point where I was like, yeah, the wearables in this version do have some issues. But, yeah, that thing just hooked into me like a fucking fish hook. That was awful. But yeah, it's like, I don't understand why people just say something's instantly good and don't think that, you know, that's just like saying, it's like a trademark thing to me. As soon as I hear somebody say, it's good, and they don't give a reason, I'm just gonna assume whatever they're saying is probably not true after a while. Because I'm like, okay, give me a reason why it's good. What did you like about it? Oh, it was just good. It's like, okay, then that's not using the big brain here, buddy. That's just saying something's good without giving a reason. That's like saying murder's good. Oh yeah, it's good. Yeah, totally. Murdering people's great. It's fun. You should do it. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it strikes me as. It's just like saying that's interesting. It doesn't mean anything. It's like, oh, a remake, that's interesting. That doesn't, I'd just say that it sounds like shit then. And that, I'd rather someone say that sounds like shit than that sounds interesting, right? Because at least there's something that's going through your mind that's not just, oh, it's good. I guess you could say it's hypocritical because you could say, oh, well, wow. What if that's just as bad as saying, assuming everything's bad? But like I said, my interpretations of things come from art. They come from like film, like writing and stuff. If something's bad, I can tell you why it's bad. There's some things that are just objectively bad, like the story to Mortal Kombat 11. It's fucking terrible. There's nothing redeeming about it. It's just flat out awful. Like, I don't understand why people are just so... It's like, does it mean you're a bad person? No. You might have bad taste, if you don't want to admit that you have bad taste, I guess, but I'd like to say I have a decent taste in most things. I'm not saying I'm cultured, by the way. I don't think I have a very bad taste. I have high standards. I think that's the better way to put it. I'd rather have high standards than none at all. It's like... I'm trying to think of this as in a very fun... Oh, there he is. Very fun, hyperbolic sense. It's like, why would you want to date somebody that's absolutely horrible, right? God damn it. I have put myself in a very fucking awful position here. Oh, hell. I didn't say this game got harder or easier, did I? It gets more difficult as time goes on. As a game should. But my point being, why would you want to be with someone that's insanely abusive just because they look good, right? Wouldn't you rather have someone that's attractive on the inside and the outside? You know? Like, when they're just a shallow, awful human being to you, do you really want to be with that person? You see what I mean? Like, that's what I think of it in that kind of perspective. Like, some of my favorite movies are just not that good. I admit it. One of my favorite movies is Eraserhead. I think it's a pretty indigestible film. And the plot's really not that deep. It's just a giant metaphor for birth control. You know, I think that's a fantastic movie. I liked the first Friday the 13th film because it was new and interesting, like, at the time. You know, Psycho was probably the only close example to that kind of a film trope that would eventually become, like, the modern horror movie genre, I guess. One of my other favorite films is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The other films in the series are shit. The first one is, like, the only one that's actually any good. Like, because I think it's a good metaphor for, like, you know, livestock mistreatment, or... It's a very subtle, like, metaphor for, like slaughterhouse culture, like, you know what I mean, how people treat animals, and... I like the idea that the villain isn't some super-powered monster from hell. It's just fucked up people. Like, it's a very basic exploit movie kind of like thing, you know? But I don't think it has very much deep meaning. It doesn't need it. It's just a good movie. Like, it's just got good tone. The pacing is pretty good. It's got every character's kind of a stock character. They're not anything deep. You know, that I don't give a shit about the characters. Like, they're just secondary, basically. But, like, I love the uncomfortable tone. I like the way that movie presents itself. And yeah, every movie after it just kept trying to do the same damn thing. The long shot of the house, the dinner scene, the crazy part where Leatherface is a tortured person, but not really. You know, it becomes this very cliche fucking mess. Like, when you start introducing versions and remakes and rehashes and reinterpretations, it's just like, yeah, the original's good. I like it. It actually has a solid, like, film structure. It's not special, it's just unique. It was different. It's uncomfortable. It's a very unpleasant movie. And it does unpleasant film without going so fucking far in, like, the just schlock value. There's actually I would say there's very little, if any, blood in that film itself. Like, all the deaths are very tame. Well, they're not, but you know what I mean. They're not, like, guts and eyeballs shooting everywhere with fucking rape and shit. No, it's just an uncomfortable movie. It does, like I said, it does uncomfortable film just fine. Like, it's exactly what I would expect. Like, to me, it's the perfect horror movie. It just encapsulates everything. Let me see if I'm correct. There's only, like, what, 2 technical jump scares? There's the scene where Leatherface jumps out in the trees in the night. That's a really shitty jump scare as well, because it's so fucking sudden. But it's paced well. It just happens. It's fucking creepy. Like, it's actually a good jump scare, I should say. But, yeah, you see what I mean? Like, it's not a jump scary shit show like something like fucking Paranormal Activity, which is a schlocky, shitty film. And the fact they had the money to get 3 of those films out is even better. I also do not like when people say the budget and the grossing is important. You can make this actually one of my favorite fucking movies of all time, and I don't even like horror movies, is the original Blair Witch Project, because it's fucking good. It is uncomfortable as hell. It's believable. It's based on, you know, a real lore of the Black Hills. It's shot in such a low budget. I mean, found footage films are nothing new, but it had a hell of a marketing campaign. Let's not be honest. If you're my age at 27, that shit got you. You thought it was real. Don't even say you didn't. It fucking had a brilliant marketing campaign. I have, like, a smile on my face talking about this. You know, the characters are all human. Like, they're pretty stupid. They're just dumb film students that smoke weed, right? There's nothing special about any of them. But it's uncomfortable. It gets under your skin. If you take your mind... I've watched it recently, too. It's not just nostalgia. Like, if you take your mind out of it and say it's 2000 whatever, the internet is still young, like, we don't know if this is real or not, it's a fucking horrifying movie. Just think about that premise. Just take you can interpret that movie as there actually is no witch. There's no supernatural element. Think about it. It's just a bunch of kids going batshit in the woods. It's believable. I mean, yeah, there is supernatural elements, obviously, at the end, but it pulls a fast one. You know it's a found footage film, so you know it's going to end at some point and that they don't actually get where they need to go. It's a very convincing... It's a great movie. It's fucking phenomenal. There's hardly any music. If I'm not mistaken, there's only like the intro bit. That's it, in the credits. It doesn't use jump scares. It doesn't use anything. It is made like on a probably like $100 budget. I don't know what the budget was. It was very small. And it's fucking great. It is like I said, if you take your mind out and say this happened, it fucking becomes absolutely a different film. It is so well made. I mean, obviously, yeah, it's acted. It's all done in some fashion, right? But to me, it stands. It's so fucking good. It holds up way better than you think. And the last time I remembered, it's actually free on YouTube with ads. So go do yourself a favor after this and watch it. It's fucking great. I also really... One of my favorite movies is Silence of the Lambs. And I think that's just... Its tone, its pacing, the cinematography, the acting, it's uncomfortable. It's not really gory, it's just an uncomfortable... It's not superheroes, it's not monsters, it's just people doing awful, shitty things. Like, to me, that is what makes a movie good, is believability. It's also why I think superhero films are lazy and shitty, because there's no tension. They're already capable. Like, I'd rather watch something like a guy get the hell beat out of him and just overcome, like, bullshit by being a badass. I grew up watching, like, fucking kung fu films, like Enter the Dragon and Game of Death and shit like that. And what makes those movies good is because there's adversity. They struggle. They're not good. I actually think Kill Bill is one of my favorite movies as well, because I feel The Bride is how you write a very fun, awesome, like, female lead, because it's not like trite, it's not like dumb. She is overconfident at some points, but she gets the shit beat out of her in certain scenes. Like, any of the fight scenes, she doesn't just walk in and punch somebody and they die. Like, I love that scene where she's getting the shit beat out of her in, like, against the, like, Yakuza. That's a fucking awesome scene. Because it becomes bullshit in a few seconds, but it's believable. She doesn't just win. She doesn't walk in and kill every single person. She gets punched, she gets hit around, she gets knocked out almost. And then the quote-unquote boss character she fights, she nearly beats the hell out of her. She nearly gets killed. And she limps out of that situation at the end. Especially, like, I just love that movie so much. But you can see, like, I don't just say it's a good movie. I don't have to just say it's good. It's good because of a lot of things. It's the pacing, the direction, the fucking soundtrack, the corniness, the just action is stupid. But when it's serious, and you can feel it when a scene is serious and when a scene's not serious. I love the training sequences. It's a fucking great film for all the right reasons. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's definitely one of my favorite movies. The violence is uncomfortable. That's another reason I like it. It's got dumb violence, and it's got ow, that really looks painful violence. Like, I like that. It's a good mix. And it's hard to match. Like, I don't think Quentin Tarantino's name being attached to something has anything to do with quality. If anything, it makes me think, okay, it's either going to be really stupid and funny, or it's going to be serious and try to be funny and weird. Like, to me, a name doesn't mean anything. It's like Tim Burton. I don't like Tim Burton films very much. I've watched a lot of his films, and I'm like, it's okay. I liked, I don't know, is there a Tim Burton film I actually like that's not Nightmare Before Christmas? Let me think about this, because I don't think there is. I never really have been a Tim Burton fan. I think his interpretive style, or whatever you want to call it, even as a goth, it's like, yeah, it's Tim Burton. It's just Tim Burton. Like, it doesn't feel... He has a very distinctive feel. He has a lot of architectural things and color palettes. It's like Dark Knight. I think Dark Knight's a fucking awful film. And you're probably like, oh, how dare you say that? The Joker! It's like, yeah, you see right there. Exactly. I think it's a boring, fucking schlocky, stupid, just suspension of disbelief thing with a dumb plot, and the characters are boring and unlikable. Okay, first of all, you already know Batman's gonna win the day because he's fucking Batman. There's no tension already. So everything he does is stupid. The plot is stupid. The Joker is just the Joker. Okay, cool. We get it. We get it. You know, what's his name died doing the film. Cool. Move on. Doesn't mean the film's flawless.
I need a vacation.
Me too. It's like, take out the Joker and that film is a piece of shit. You change my mind. Like, it is awful. Alright, 3, 4, 5. You need to shoot these computer screens down. Like, cinematography-wise, dark, brooding, every scene is the same. It's just boring. It's ugly to look at. It's not exciting. It's just... it's Christopher Nolan or whatever his name is, direction. It's just the same. The soundtrack is so fucking boring. It's just... it's the same thing. It's the same thing every single fucking movie he's made. It all sounds the same. Like, everybody is so grossly incompetent that isn't Batman. Batman doesn't have any flaws. It's boring and stupid and it sucks. Take out of your mind that What's-His-Nuts died making it. I'm not saying that's not a tragedy, it does suck. But at the same time, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's in what. It's a very stupid and boring film. I hated it. I've watched it twice, and I still think it's boring and unlikable. I just don't like it. If you like it, cool. I think it's boring and just uninteresting. It's the same... It's the start of when superhero films became the stagnating effect, right? Like, they all started to just make superhero films. Like, they wanted to say, oh, we're big boys. The people can die and swear. It's like, yeah, the film still sucks. It's still just fucking Batman. Like, it's just so fucking boring. Superhero films are the most lazy, fucking boring films of all time. And guess what? One of my favorite movies is Spider-Man 2000. You wanna know why? Because it's fucking stupid. That's one of the reasons I like it. Spider-Man 2, it's alright. It's just more of the same. Just kind of these fun... There's not really any stakes, right? Spider-Man 3, fucking awful film. It is, without equivocation... Oh shit. Oh, I need to get the hell out of that. It's just boring. It's a disaster of a movie. Like, I don't understand what people see in superhero films. I guess it's a ego insertion thing. Just as much as some people go, oh, I don't understand FPS games. It's just this, right? Like, it's just shooting dudes, right? Oh god, I'm not gonna make it. Oh, damn it, I hate this fight. It is not a good boss fight. It's A, just iffy, and B, it's just not good. Can I justifiably say that Avatar: The Last Airbender is a good film? No. Do I think M. Night Shyamalan's a bad director? Objectively, yes, but for the most part he seems competent in what he's doing. He has the basics of film down. I think that The Sixth Sense is a good film in a vacuum. It's got good pacing. I think that the pacing of that movie is good. The plot of it's stupid. The soundtrack's interesting. Like, it's tense, and it's a very tense movie. I wouldn't qualify it as a horror film, but it's fun. It's got really uncomfortable, like, things. The acting's not bad. The cinematography is actually pretty good, too. I like how a lot of it was practical, which is also really neat, but it's not that bad. I don't think it's anything landmark. It's just... it's okay. But that was the Citadel... sorry, the Tower of Babel. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm gonna talk about something nicer next time.